Yo, what's up, guys? We're excited to announce that we're partnering with the Chicago Electronic Music Conference. We're giving away a pair of tickets to this year's event on April 26th in Chicago at the Romova Theater. CEMC is a day focused on the electronic music industry, featuring panels, workshops, and networking opportunities with artists, producers, and industry professionals. To enter the giveaway, fill out the form in the description and make sure to follow all of the instructions, because if you don't, you're not going to be qualified to win. So, yeah. Winners will be selected soon. We'll send you an email about that, and I wish you the best of luck. All right, guys, let's get into today's episode.
Poducer.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to Poducer, the podcast for producers. I'm your host, Jerry. Today we're joined by Pete Mac.
Yes, sir. Good to be here. Thank you for having me, man.
Dude, good to have you here. We're trying some stuff out. If you guys have been eagerly waiting in the Instagram, this is a first, so I don't know. Let us know if it looks good, I guess. Wait, are we? We're streaming. Okay, sorry. I was just double checking. Yeah, dude, thanks for coming through. We're going to be playing some beats today. We're going to be talking about origin stories, all that stuff. But
Absolutely.
I guess first we got to talk about the House of Beats, right? That's something we wanted to promote by doing this. House of Beats, February 22nd, Saturday, 7:30, free. Pete Mac is curating it. You want to maybe say what's special about your curation?
Yeah, no doubt. I'll start by saying House of Beats is just a phenomenal production, and Poducer, the whole operation is great. So big props to you. I think House of Beats was probably the first show I did here in Chicago, or one of the first ones when I came to town about a year and a half ago. And just incredible. Cool community and great location at Epiphany, and just a great time all around. This episode, we've got some folks coming up from St. Louis. We got the legend Easy Web. We've got Samito, who's another MPC user I'm a big fan of. Locally, got a bunch of folks, Damo, 7000, yourself, rocking a set, which is the first. So definitely excited for that. And a bunch of other folks. Sonny, we've got Flapjacks playing. Fernando Bounce is going to be in the house. Don't know if I'm forgetting anyone. If I am, sorry. But definitely excited. We're going to have a good time. Again, 7:30 to 11 at Epiphany. So pop out and have some fun.
This Saturday. Yeah. All right, yo, I feel like a good way to just start this thing would be to maybe play some beats, right?
Beats.
Let's I'm gonna switch over to you and just hit us with one when you're ready.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Buddy. Yeah, dude. Fire. All your beats are always so smooth and just like easy listening, you know?
Thank you, bro. That's the goal, is the listening experience is easy and chill and puts you in that comfortable place. So I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, dude. Well, let's do like the things that we always do on the show, which is what was your first concert?
I've been looking forward to this one, man. That's a fun question. My first concert was a bunch of Chicago artists, actually. It was Lupe, Common, and Kanye. It was back in Mohegan Sun, which is a Connecticut casino way out on the East Coast, and that was probably in middle school or something, and a good intro to a few of my favorite artists and just that nice Chicago hip hop sound, which is obviously being out here now. It's pretty cool to see it in person and be making beats as part of the scene out here. But I think back to that show quite often, the Chicago trifecta, as I call them. Probably disrespecting the other Chicago legends. I can't speak on it too much, but for me, those three were pretty dope to see in person.
Nice. Where was that? You said Muskegon?
Mohegan Sun for all my East Coast folks. It's like a casino out there in Connecticut. So I'm from Boston or Massachusetts originally. So a lot of the concert venues I hit were out in that area. And the other one I'll mention is, speaking of Connecticut, a place called Toad's Place down in New Haven, which is a low-key bar, almost like a college bar type of venue. And I saw The Game, Kendrick Lamar when he was K-Dot, and then Nipsey Hussle. The three of them came out, and I saw them, and it was wild. I got on stage with The Game for a minute, got thrown off right away, but it was a hell of a time.
Wait, did you get on stage like on your own accord, or
he was just inviting people up? It was a madhouse. It was just a wild scene, and me and two buddies were there, and we ended up finding our way on stage, and he was singing California Sunshine. I still remember it. I got almost arm around him, and I got thrown down by security, and that was that. But it was fun, man. It was a good experience.
Damn, that's crazy. Game is like Game, like the game. Yeah.
He's dude's like 6'6" or something. Intimidating dude. Big fella came out, and it was a good time. But
Nipsey
Hussle, yep, and K-Dot before I even knew who he really was at the time. So it was cool to look back and see, that as one of the concerts as well.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. Honestly, I feel like I forgot about The Game. He's got some heaters, but didn't 50 Cent write his shit, or wasn't there like some feud? I'm like the hip hop heads are like,
yeah, I know. I can't speak on the feud too much either. I'm not sure, but I do know The Game had some heaters.
I really like The Game. Yeah.
He did his one track. I think it was off OKE, and he flipped the Queen song, "Somebody to Love." Just that little intro. Whoever produced the beat made that one, and that one always stuck with me. That was a heater. But yeah, good stuff.
For sure. Okay. I feel like it's been a long time coming to get you on the podcast.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited to be here, man. Been a while. I think, like I said, that first House of Beat show is probably when I met you about a year and a half back or so. But it's been cool to see the different artists you have come on and the different ways that you engage with folks, both in this hip hop beat community and outside of it, and more of that bass and electronic dance music scene. Yeah, that bass music. But no, it's dope, man. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to come through and chop it up and have a good time. So hell yeah.
How many beats did you bring just in case?
Just in case. I loaded up this morning. I exported everything I've done these past couple weeks. I've got eight beats that range from probably 2 or 3 that I'm like, hell yeah, these are what I try to make. And then the bottom end of the spectrum are those beats that you go through the process, you cook up, and maybe you get somewhere with it, but it's not, you know what I mean, that place that you want it to be. But I'm at a place where I'm just trying to crank them out and go through the process, finish beats, and sort of take a tally towards the end of a month or down the road and say, hey, this is what we've got, versus going beat by beat and saying this one's great or this one, stinks or whatever it is. Just sort of going through the process and seeing what you come up with,
Yeah, it's also they're not like this is not like a shot at people that are making beats, but it's not like a full-fledged composition song. Like it I'm gonna get like flamed from like the beat makers, like beats are songs, dude. But like, you get a good sample flip and then you fucking rock with it and you're good to go.
Yeah,
that's the beat,
And sometimes that's it, just a little 4-bar loop or a sample that fits nicely, and maybe the drums just don't hit, and you go back to it the next day and figure it out. That's what I did with this this beat we just played. I got those samples together and it fit beautifully, but I couldn't find the drums to fit, and knew the sample was something to work with, so just let it ride for a day and came back, ended up chopping up a break and just rearranging the pattern to throw it over it. And to your point, simple. It's just that, 4 8-bar loop, whatever it is. But I feel like that's that initial canvas I look for. And from there, if it's worth it, you can build it out, maybe add some of that variation and get it to a full track. But it's fun going from vinyl sample or maybe some drums or just a blank canvas to, can we get a good real canvas to work on, if that makes sense,
No, I feel you. All right, well, I want to get into like origin story, but let's run another beat real quick.
Beats.
This is fucking fire, bro.
This is actually that one I was talking about where it was just a sample for a bit, and then the drums as I programmed them just weren't doing the job. So just let it ride for a day, came back, and shout out to AJ Hall. I chopped up a drum break from one of his packs and it just fit nicely. It just did the job. So yeah, and that's just a shout to the process. The idea of maybe it's sometimes drums that you're programming in, maybe it's chopping up a break, starting with the sample, starting with the drums, sort of the beauty of it. So that was a fun one to make and talk through for sure.
For sure. Yo, can you bring the mic? Just grab it right here and pull it up a little bit.
It was in the SP way. I had to throw it out to get the beats going.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. You can put the SP on the table right there for now, and then we'll come back to it.
What do I do with my hands?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know, man. Dude, that sample is so fire. It reminds me of just like, I don't know, like old hip hop. It reminds me of this one Grammatic track. You ever fuck with Grammatic?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Grammatic for sure. It's a sound I try to emulate. I don't know if it's maybe a little bit faster tempo where the hi-hats are doing a little bit more with like open hats and stuff, but I like that sort of beat that he makes for sure.
Mm-hmm. What do you know what that sample is?
Oh, what was that one? Yeah, that was from I think Huey Laws was the artist, a jazz record that I found, and I made 2 beats from that one, actually. The other one I'll play after next, but same record. I ended up sampling in both of them at 45 RPM, so quicker than usual, and it just gave it that like sped up sound. So I'm usually in that soul pocket, but jazz records have been hitting recently for sure.
Do you mostly sample records for your...
I like to start there. I'd say that's what I'm the biggest fan of in terms of the process, is just finding a few records, whether they're new to me or old that I've maybe sampled before, and just seeing what it sparks. Maybe there's a loop, maybe there's something you can take. And again, that idea of a canvas, use it as sort of a backdrop for something else, some drums or something, but starting on vinyl is definitely a process that I enjoy. I think that's also because the MPC is such a key part of my workflow that taking a sample, chopping it up on those pads, and just getting busy is fun. You get lost in it pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Well, let's go into, when you started doing this. Like, when would you officially have started making music?
Yeah, I think with real intent, probably like 2018 or so, 6-7 years back. I think in like late high school, early college, I'd mess around and maybe make a beat or two, but didn't really dive in and buy the MPC, get Ableton, and start getting my hands dirty until more recently. So yeah, 2018 or so. And yeah, for me, it was just a good way to explore the craft that I enjoy, or something that I knew I enjoyed, being hip hop beats primarily, and the idea of where drums hit, the pattern in relation to each other, and just sort of what makes a cool beat. And sort of diving into that, found the MPC culture and the whole process of chopping up and using vinyl as a source, and sort of where the art form came from, and just fell in love with that pocket specifically. So I've spent a bunch of time just diving in there and building up the record collection, trying to learn what I can, where I can, and just have fun creating. I feel like it's like yoga or exercise or anything that you practice. There's no like complete mode. So it's just continuing to refine what's the input and what's the output. If I can crank up beats pretty regularly in my routine and then match the output in terms of beat tapes or maybe sample packs or whatever it is, then great. Just put out projects and have fun and balance everything else that comes with life. So sort of a long-winded macro view of the answer there, but that's sort of the start for me and sort of where I view it today.
No, I like that you went there immediately, because it makes me want to just ask, like, why, why make the beats? Like, it's the practice. Is it like what is the lofty goal in mind, like for Pete Mac?
For me, it's honestly just keeping that creative outlet in the routine, and like keeping the joy that I get from creating. I remember when I started to learn the craft, there'd be times where I just get lost and 4 or 5 hours go by, and that was a completely new thing for me. It helped me, maybe remove my mind from other areas and just keep it focused. So I think continually that's my goal, is make sure creating regularly is in the routine. And if I'm collaborating with people like yourself and people in the community and putting out projects and getting involved and doing shows here or there and just getting involved in really every capacity, that's what I view as success. And then just maintaining that balance with the other shit life throws at you, the work and family, friends dynamics is everything that's important as well. But keeping music on the plate is a priority. So yeah, that's, I guess, how I sort of look at that.
Yeah, it's a practice again. I just don't think that everyone looks at it like that. Like a lot of people get into making music because they see themselves on a stage and they want recognition for it. But for you, it seems very clearly that it's like, you know, flossing the muscle, like, you know, just doing the thing and using that maybe as like a vehicle to move around. Like, are you money motivated? Because I would say I am not.
I'm money motivated like anyone else is, but I think more so I know it's easier to make money outside of music than it is to make it in music, you know? So if I can have a job that's supplying the income and then, again, keeping the balance right, so I'm not losing my soul or my wellness to a 9 to 5 or to another hustle outside of music, but making money with it, I've found, hasn't been the funnest way for me to have music in my life. Like, for example, if I sit down with a project to make a beat for a certain artist with a certain style, it's usually the farthest thing that it comes out like. You know, if I make a beat, it's usually see what happens, and when I start putting objectives ahead of that activity, then it's not as enjoyable for me, and it's not a great way for me to keep, again, that routine that I value so highly. So I am focusing on making sure the framework is there to monetize those things, but not, hey, it's front and center and it's ahead of, you know, creating and just getting lost in a record or cooking up in a morning. And, you know, it's aligned, I'd say. That's sort of how I view it.
It's kind of an escape as well. Like, do you feel like you can fully escape when you're doing it? Because like for me, I think I ruined it for myself that I'm like, whenever I work on music now, I'm like, I'm not getting an output that is then something I can do with something with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I'll sit down and explore music for like 2 hours, make an idea and be like, fuck, you know?
Yeah. Right.
And part of that is for myself that I'm just a little rusty, but it's just not as concretely something I can do something with.
Yeah. I found that this is a funny question because we did the Nonstop November. Big shout out to Backpack Beats who got that going with everyone. But cooking up every day for a month taught me that it's not 100%. Like I was trying to put a good sports analogy on it, and it's maybe like Shaq at the free throw line, like 50%, you know, in terms of making a good beat versus a throwaway is something I would take. And I think that's just part of it, is knowing that they're not all going to be hits, or if you're sitting down to create every day. I don't know anyone who's doing it, but if you are, good for you. But I'm not making a great beat every time I sit down. So if I can internalize that and know that they're all not going to be heaters, and that every now and again I'll, you know what I mean, feel discouraged or down or just not super hyped about it, I like to sort of stay grounded in the idea that it's a roller coaster, and sometimes the creativity is going to be hitting, other times it's going to be not, you know. And if you can take the times when it's not and still get the reps in or the at-bats and go through the cycle, finish the beat, in whatever form it turns out to be, it's still a win, you know? So I feel like it's just that roller coaster metaphor. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down.
It's very zen of you, like to just be like, I'm just going to put in the hours and not, you know, think about, like, do you feel like that in general, that you're a little bit more into the practice than the outcome
I feel
of
like
things?
Yeah, I feel like I have to be. I feel like that's what is just a wellness oriented mindset for me. And like there's ego in it, and there's goals and objectives, and that stuff's not easy to just avoid completely. But if I can maintain like the mindset of this isn't everything, right? Or not just music, but anything isn't everything. And there's so many different things on the plate to balance, that my relationship with it being healthy is something I feel like it is now. And I'm happy about that, but it's not always been that way. And it's definitely back to that peaks and valleys. Like there's times where it just doesn't work and it doesn't feel good. So that's why I think it's important to, I guess, when it does feel good, just take stock of what's working. You know what I mean? What the mindset has shifted to be, or how it works. And I think for me right now, a big part of that is just this idea of input and output. And I know that if my input includes spending a couple hours a day cooking up, and maybe it's not every day, but it's regularly, if I can listen to the records I'm buying and know what's going on, and have some beats I'm working on and dedicate to the craft regularly, then I know that if I check back in a month, I'll have a handful of beats to do something with. I'll have maybe some samples that I can repurpose. and a whole bunch of stuff. So I think that's my mindset, is understand that there's never like that complete finish line, but if you're putting in the input that's going to set you up with something to do something with, then you're good. So that's sort of how I view it.
Yeah, I feel that. That's how I feel actually with this.
Mm-hmm. To stay consistent, just put in the
do
effort. Exactly.
And then you just kind of like learn, as you go.
Yep.
I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like having a practice is super important. That's like something I've thought about a lot just recently. I don't know. I don't know. I guess some people don't have that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I would like, I like to hear what people have to think or have to say, and what they think about their own specific practice, and whether or not it's always enriching to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's fine. I don't know, like it's, just like working out. You gotta do it.
You gotta do it, and I feel like it's not supposed to feel perfect at all times. Like, I feel like you're supposed to have those times of, shit, am I doing this right? Or is this, am I aligned? Are my goals maybe supposed to be shifted a bit? So I think like it's a healthy perspective.
The thing that I'm getting from you is that like you have an introspective view about these things. Like you're able to assess whether or not the compass is, going the right way. Like that's at least what I'm hearing, kind of, that you have a good gauge of like, maybe today wasn't that good, but like, fuck it, every day is not going to be good. And I don't know. I feel like not everyone is like kind of zen like that. Like it's just like, it's fine that it doesn't work today.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely appreciative of that perspective and the ability to keep it in perspective. But yeah, I don't think it is supposed to feel good all the time. I think it's a creative outlet, and it's going to have different elements, or you're going to have a different relationship with it at different times. And as long as you can sort of keep that bigger picture in mind, and to the compass analogy, I feel like it is important to have that mindset internally of, am I aligned, or are things work in the right direction? But I also try not to get stuck in that mindset of planning, right? And making sure things are aligned and figuring everything out before you go a certain direction. I feel like especially in music and in this beat making community, there's a million things being done. And if you're in your head about your beats, or if you're reanalyzing stuff and maybe not moving, there's other people moving. And not that it's a competition either, but progress is beneficial regardless of if it's in, completely the right direction, or maybe you have to shift. I think it's important to have the plan, but just keep pushing, you know what I mean? Whatever it is.
Yeah, dude, I've been listening to a lot of stuff lately. It's just like, this is scratching the itch and kind of overlaying with some of that stuff. One of the things was, I was listening to this guy, and he was saying, like if you can do 8 repetitions of something, but like you fail at the end, just do 4 and make sure that those are really good. And like there's a flossing, or like he was talking about flossing the circuit basically, and like it has memory. So like if you fail in that circuit, it will have memory of it. But if you go through your whole life and just like do like 4 reps perfectly, and you're just always winning on those 4 reps, you're like never gonna think you can fail.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I feel like you could think about it the same with beats. You're like, oh dude, I just gotta fucking make like 3 beats there, and they all suck, and you're just like, dude, this is trash. Or you can make like half a beat and be like, that was pretty good though, I like that one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's so hit or miss. And that's even breaking it down to those mini objectives of, hey, finish these 3 beats by the end of the week, or film this video, or whatever it is. I value it, but I'm also trying to stay away from that even more so, and just rely on these core input. I keep going back to input output, but these core things, if I'm doing them regularly, then I know the output will be there. So it's a good way for me, at least, to remind myself that it's not about those 2 whiteboards I have on my wall with all the things written on them. I can turn those around and just get to work. And ideally, if I'm checking, the direction, things will be aligned. But easier said than done. This is a mindset that I strive to have, but it's definitely not like in place all the time. And I don't know, I feel like now the winter, this is an interesting time of year where I've been just chugging along, like trying to stay good, you know what I mean? Positive, and it's worked. You're
also fun employed, right?
Fun employed, exactly. So I've got the time.
So you had not to like really, we don't have to talk about this too much, but like you had a corporate job for a long time.
Yep.
And now you're like fun employed, as you said, and it's like, how do you keep yourself good when you have all that free time and structure?
Man, I haven't known what day of the week it is for like 6 months. It's been a rough
Like, you'll just
adjustment
wake
on
up
that
and be like,
front.
is it Saturday or Tuesday?
There's no way to tell. But yeah, I've worked in like IT, tech sales type of work for about 10 years, and candidly, like, was happy to embrace the break. It's been fun to just reprioritize. Okay, do I want to continue with this as that sort of pillar of my work and my 9 to 5? Is there maybe other stuff, both music and non-music related, that could fill in the blanks a little bit? Started transitioning back to, what opportunities are out there and getting back to it. But it's been fun, dude. I've been traveling a bit and just enjoying time alone, not even doing much, and not feeling bad about not doing much, but just sitting in it. And there's been ups and downs, just like the beat making thing. That's a metaphor I keep going back to. But it's been good. It's been a cool time, and I'm grateful to just have the ability to do it. You know what I mean? And take a small career break and to the compass thing, see if it's pointing the right direction and keep it pushing,
Dude, you're fucking zen. I think you're more zen than you realize. Also, maybe you're actually like dying inside. You
Dude,
know what I mean?
I'm telling you, I'm speaking to myself. Like, these are things that I have to remind myself constantly, and it's nowhere near like a well-refined system where the input matches the output, but I've got that vision, and I know that if I can stay there mentally, then like it'll be good, and also that reminder that there's a million other things to worry about. You know what I mean? We've got plenty on the plate, so it's easy to keep that in perspective and know that this music hustle and the creative outlet, it's a benefit and it provides value, and like the goal is just hang on to that.
Yeah. So you grew up in Boston, right?
I grew up in Western Massachusetts, so about an hour and a half west of Boston, and then moved to Boston after college. So I spent about 10 years or so living out in Boston. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, are like East Coast people and Midwesterners like, are they similar at all? Because like Midwesterners, I feel like, yeah, they're like nice, quote unquote, but then they also got all kinds of baggage because like out up front they're like nice,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like, is that because I feel like the cold hardens you too. I know that in Massachusetts and Boston it's fucking cold.
It is. Yeah.
I mean? There's a similar culture of like Carhartt jacket people, and like I'm outside in the fucking cold.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I noticed coming out here was that, to your point, people are probably a shade more friendly for sure. Just the initiative to like say hello or invite you to a conversation or be less likely to like, breeze past you on the street is something a little bit newer. Nothing crazy. To your point, everyone's got, that baggage or that nonsense. And I feel like in the Northeast, you might come across more cold is a good word for it. People just about their way. So that's been cool to see out here, is that I feel like there's more of a collaborative environment, not like in the music scene specifically, but just amongst people. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a lot of transplants out here, but I've met a lot of folks from other cities, and I was in San Diego for a little bit, and similar vibe out there, where if you're not from the area, like maybe the person you're talking to is neither, and it's all love and just it's all warm, it's all good. So yeah.
Okay.
It's not all warm right now though in Chicago, I'll tell you.
No, it's freezing. Yeah. Should we run another one?
Run another beat? Let's do it.
I feel like we should, right?
Let's do it. Yes, sir.
Dude, those chords were cool.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I think there's an Ableton cookup. I'm usually an MPC guy.
Oh, really?
Primarily MPC. I actually upgraded to 3.0 recently, which in MP it just recently went from 2 to 3 on the software of the box itself. And
Was this a big jump?
It's a big jump, completely new workflow. I'm sure it's easier than I imagine it, but I couldn't do it. I just didn't make a beat on the MPC for a good week. Finally downgraded back to 2. I'm comfortable.
You went back?
I went back to 2.15.
What?
Shout to all my MPC users. If you're using 3 well, let me know, because I haven't been able to figure it out. But yeah, with 2, it's just such a great workflow to like try stuff out, and I know where the hot cues are to get certain places, and it's all new. So
No,
that one
I
was an
get it.
Ableton cookup. Yeah.
That's how I feel with Ableton as well. Like 12, I still have not quite figured out.
Yeah.
But it's fine. There's things to be explored.
Yeah, and they do what you need them to do. You know what I mean? Just I feel like it's also better to have it how you know. You know what I mean? At least for me with that MPC, because it was daunting on 3 for sure.
Was that still a sample, or was it like chords, like Ableton cookup? Are you using like VSTs and stuff?
Yeah,
or?
I'm using some VSTs. I also have a synth, a Novation Ultra Nova, I think it's called. This Craigslist synth I got that I can build some stuff. And from there, I'm sampling everything too. I'll just try to piece together a few chords and then maybe throw some processing on it and then chop it up and sort of program it in that sampled method. But I'm trying to get better at playing stuff in live and being a bit more expressive with it. I don't have the ability quite yet, but it's on the list for sure.
Does sampling yourself intrigue you at all, or is...
Yeah, for sure. That's primarily what I'm doing in that case. I'll just build almost not necessarily a full sample with different elements, but if I need some Rhodes chords, I'll play them out and then program them together. If I need something else, I'll change it, throw it on top. But it's often throw it in Ableton as a long file, chop it up from there, get the timing right. With that bass guitar you got to try out the other day, I'm still fumbling to get through scales, but I can find out what key I'm in, play a scale, or get a bunch of notes that I want to use, and then within Ableton sequence them and put them where I want them, because I'm not as clean with it yet. But it's cool having the ability to lean on the different instruments and just get sounds into sample,
Yeah, dude. Like, because you could just sample one note and be creative with it, I don't know. I mean, there's like a million ways to do it. I guess it's really whatever works for you, but also like, I don't know. I think there's something special about playing an acoustic instrument or like whatever, an electric guitar, because every time you hit it, it's different. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's completely different than samples. You're like, oh, fuck, this is kind of hard in a different way. Like,
yeah.
I feel like sampling is like a puzzle, and instruments, it's like all about finesse, and
you got to like draw the puzzle yourself almost, or figure out. I feel like with sampling, it at least gives you, for me, coming from a background of not being able to play the keys or something super expressively, it's like, all right, here's the building blocks, right? And then maybe you're pitching them up or down or finding a new way to manipulate it from there. But I do like being given those building blocks and knowing that they'll work together in some capacity, right? Or it's a good starting place to build that canvas off of.
Yeah, for sure. What else is going on in Pete Mac world the next month or so? We got House of Beats coming up.
We got House of Beats this Saturday. Again, super excited for that, and thank you for the opportunity to help curate and be involved there. Big shout out to everyone coming. We got folks coming from out of town, some local folks, and it's just a good energy at that show. So once again, big shout out to you for putting it on. So yeah, we'll have fun there Saturday, and then towards the end of the month, what I am thinking of is putting out actually I'm going to call it a flip kit, and sort of what we just talked about, like a sample pack of sounds that a beat maker would need to make a beat. So some drums, some soulful chops or something from a vinyl record, some live percussion sounds, stuff from the bass guitar, that synth, and just piece everything together and sort of make that available for producers to see if it sparks inspiration or just try it out, to that idea of like, is my compass pointing in the right direction? That's one of the things I'm thinking will make sense is put together these kits that can be a source of inspiration for chopping up and starting something new. So I'm excited about that.
Do you think you're going to do any kind of like, is there any rollout specific for that? Like, are you going to selling it? Are you going to do like a little beat competition?
I'm thinking I'm going to do a Patreon. So I'm sort of still figuring out the route, but I'm thinking a nice cheap tier for beat makers who each month will get a custom, I'm going to call it the flip kit, and again, give you everything you need to make a beat. With that, maybe another tier for beats that I'm cooking up, more of that fan supporter vibe, and probably throw in some vinyl samples as well. So I think the lane I'm going to go for is sample packs, drum sounds, but infused with vinyl samples and stuff that's either already chopped up and processed or maybe unprocessed, unchopped, and you give the beat maker the chance to sort of start fresh. I'm still workshopping it a little bit, interested to see how it's received and if that's something that folks are looking for, but definitely interested to see how I can just put that framework in place to continue to, again, cook up, build beats, build sound packs, put out beats, and have a place where they can live, but also, not all about monetization, but have the framework there, right? And if it becomes something that I want to put some more effort into, I'll be able to do that. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be, a good way for me to just match the input to the output, cook up regularly and see what we can make from it. So.
Dude, we should do like a some like people, we give them the samples and then like they make beats and then we play them live and give away a prize. Dude, or something. I love doing stuff like that.
The first flip kit, you heard it here first. We'll get that going.
That'd be fun, dude.
Yeah,
I'd be down. I always like gamifying it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like if something just exists out there, it's like not as enticing as if it's like I'm gonna download this and then it's a game now.
Exactly, gamify it a bit. I was also gonna throw in a free percussion pack for maybe that first month of folks that sign up, but I like the idea of gamifying a bit more and building that community engagement where you're sort of, it's a two-way street versus just here's what I'm putting out. So,
or maybe even like tapping in with other creators too, and like
that's the other thing, right? Other folks that are maybe more aligned in certain genres or pockets, and I've already started putting together a list of the different ways you could put a kit together and what the theme could be. So definitely excited to see what's out there and just what it can turn into,
For sure. We should play another beat, but I also want to get into this book.
Let's get into the book.
I don't know
what it is, but let's get into the book.
No, you don't know about the book is fun because like it's funny. I was gonna call you Pete, but it's not even your name.
Nope. My name is Nate for everyone who doesn't know that. Pete's my middle name. So I guess both are technically my name, but yeah, sometimes I'm Pete, sometimes I'm Nate, sometimes I'm Mac. You never know what you're gonna get. So.
What's the Mac again?
Mac is a nickname from my last name. My last name has that in it, so it's just a little combo.
We don't have to dox.
Yeah, I'm on the run out here.
Yeah. All right, we'll do one of these and then we'll play a beat.
Cool.
But it dawned on me that like we've hung out a lot and talked a lot about music, but like I just feel like this could be a good way to get to know each other.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like an icebreaker book.
Yep.
All right, so the book is 3,000 questions. You got to choose a number between 1 and 3,000.
I'm up first.
Yeah, we could both answer it too.
Okay, got you. My number will be 2,714.
That seems very specific. 2,714?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
No reason.
No reason.
It just
you
came.
Just hit it in there, yeah. Oh, do you give up easily or are you a fighter? That's like kind of relevant to what we were talking about before.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, both, right? Like fighting for the important
Oh, you're about to say some Zen shit. You're about to say Zen shit. You're like, I don't want to fight if the fight isn't worth it.
I think that's the answer though, right? Like for sure. I think, yeah, in some cases, but also if the compass isn't pointing the right direction, to go back to that other analogy, then there's also, I think, value in not. It's such a broad question, but yeah, I think both is the right answer there, and depending on the scenario.
It's so Zen of you. I also, just like a follow-up question to that, and I'll answer this. Have you ever been in a fight? I've never been in like a real, like I've gotten in a scuffle. Like we've kind of gotten in each other's faces, but not like fisticuffs, right. Like real.
No, I'm with you there. Like a half scrap or two back on like a sports
yeah, like some
something.
pushing.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm definitely not throwing hands. I'm not looking for the hands either. So
okay, yeah. But sometimes I'm like, damn. I wish I kind of had like a little bit more experience in fighting. I was thinking about doing some MMA, I don't know, something.
Dude, I did some Brazilian jiu-jitsu in like senior year of high school for a few months. I'm like, this is my new thing. And then one day I was sort of rolling or grappling with this much smaller guy. Orange belly was farther along, and I caught like a heel to the eye, and it swelled up for a week, and that was the end of that. I said I'm a lover, not a fighter, and retired my fighting career at that point. So
Damn. Did you
Yeah.
think you had him? You're like, this guy's smaller than me. I'm gonna get him.
I don't think I ever knew or thought I had a shot at all, but just the pride couldn't come back. Walking around with one eye for a week was a challenge. But you don't know unless you try. You know what I mean? And now I know it's not for me.
Dude, you know, I've thought about doing jujitsu because I feel like everyone is always like, it's the most practical. Like, it's because most fights end up on the ground, and like being on the ground, you got to know how to protect whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, then I'll hear people talk about it. It's like, yeah, I went to practice or whatever to the place to practice Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and someone just like torqued my leg, and now my fucking leg is messed up for like a month, and I don't want to do that.
There might
you know?
be safer hobbies out there for us to pursue. Yeah, I'm with you there.
I mean, I'm not trying to be like lame, but I feel like inevitably, it's like when I was rock climbing and I was doing like these dynamic things like jumping, I was like, I'm gonna fuck myself up. It's gonna happen.
It's a numbers game. It's not an if, but a when.
Yeah. All right, we'll do another one.
What's your answer for that one though? Where do you lean on that? Fighting versus
I would agree with, am I a fighter? Wait, what was the question? Am I a fighter?
I think, do you give up easily, or do you fight or something to that effect?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I am more path of least resistance when it comes to most things, but when it comes to like a discipline, like weekly podcast, weekly, whatever, improving that, I am kind of a fighter. Like, I'll sit at my computer and like work on shit until my eyes are like glowing. I'm like, I can't. Yeah. Like, I should have taken a break 2 hours ago, type of thing.
But that's the stuff that you like diving into, you're saying? Not only is it
I think I just get obsessed a little bit and want to dial it in to the way that I want it to be.
Yeah.
And if I am not quite getting there, I'm just not very good at like taking a break. I'm like, no, I'll figure it out. But honestly, it's probably not good, because I've also heard people say like, yeah, like work for like 30 minutes, take a break, come back, work, but you'll like be more efficient.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to try that more.
That's especially the case with things like mixing, which I'm guilty of as well.
Oh,
you just get lost, doing it, and you don't want to stop. But that visit the next day sometimes can be pretty clarifying.
Yeah, you're like, well, I just ruined I ruined it.
Nothing's worse than that, just going through 6, 7, 8 different mixes, and it's that first one that sounded, the best. But again, part of the process. But to your point, I think if it's something that you like doing and like it's oriented to your goals, and like, hell yeah, why not, get lost doing it, or just dive in and have fun. So I hear that for sure.
Sometimes I think that I can just like, if I just cram it all in and get it done, that I won't have to then pick up the pieces later and like kind of orient myself with what's going on. You know what I mean? Like coming back to a project file and being like, what was I doing here again? Like,
yeah,
I kind of lost the momentum there. Maybe that's like not the right mindset either. I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can come back with a totally fresh set of eyes, ears, whatever, and just be like, oh, I know what's wrong with it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Just that different frame. So I guess both. That's the answer. You got to have that both in perspective for sure.
Yeah. Life is duality.
Life is duality, man.
All right, let's do another one. I'll have you choose it and we'll both answer.
Okay. We'll go 108, 108.
108. Oh my God, dude, this is such a relevant question. Something on your to-do list that never gets done.
Oh man. Dude, for me, it's been figuring out this. It's the video stuff for me. It's the capture card we talked about. It's the cables that I don't have. It's just I've got the camera. I've got the ability to live stream and do what I want to do there, but I'm like 80%. I just got to connect the dots or connect the wires literally and figure out how to best do that. And I've had the camera for, north of a year now. So that's definitely been on the list for a while, but I feel good. We're getting the right direction on that front, but it's still on the to-do list for sure.
Yeah, dude. Well, that can also feel never ending in the sense that like you get it all connected, and then I guess the real success would just be like to do a stream and be like, all right, we're capable. But after that, you're going to be like, how do we do it better? Like, what do we
How do I get this camera in the mix? Yeah, right, exactly. But that's just all stuff that I think I said it earlier. Like, that's me in my head, right? Like, that's just me trying to figure out how to get it perfect before I do it. So I should take my own advice there and just start and then figure out, here's maybe what would help or here's how you improve it. But I guess that's a good question for me because it reminds me that it shouldn't still be on my to-do list, and I'll probably try to knock it off pretty soon. So,
Dude, my to-do list haunts me.
yeah.
And you know what I wish I had? Like, because my to-do list, I always check stuff off of it. And there's a huge list of shit that's been checked off, but there are a couple things on there that I'm like, ugh, not today.
What is it? What's on the list still?
One of them, it's complicated too, because it's like, I want to LLC this, but then I'm like, do I really need to LLC it? Like, can I just do like a sole proprietorship? It's like the things on the list, but I really need to just look into a couple more things. I think I've decided what I want to do, but
yeah.
That's one. Also, going to the dentist. I've been telling myself I need to make an appointment for just so long, and I'm like, fuck, I just got to do that. What the hell?
Yep. Those sneak up for sure.
Do you ever think about the priority? We'll call it the priority effect, like that the list is in flux all the time, where it's like something will happen, and you'll be like, oh shit, I got to go. That's more important now, and then. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's constantly revolving for sure.
Do you make lists too?
I talked about 2 whiteboards before. I've got 2 physical whiteboards that just sit on my desk, and they're full of different things. And maybe it's time oriented, or to your point, sort of priority oriented. Priority oriented. That
was
a tough one, yeah. But crossing it off feels great. And sometimes those ones you leave up, the LLC or the sole proprietorship. Sometimes it's good just to like let it marinate for a bit and figure it out. But once it stays on there, maybe I'll erase and then rewrite the list for the sake of not seeing it in the same form,
Yeah, sometimes I'll rewrite the goal. Yep. Like after marinating on it, I'll be like, that's actually not really what I wanted to get done. Yeah. It's slightly different. And then I'll rewrite it, and then that helps me like think about it in a different way too.
Yep.
But yeah, it's good. I have my list on my phone too, and that feels less real. When you check it off on a piece of paper or a whiteboard, it feels more like, oh yeah, it's done.
That line did it. Through it. That feels good. It sure does. Yep.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Some of these will hit you deep though. I'm just like, whoa.
I'm ready.
All right. What's another number? Should we do 404?
Yeah, let's do 404.
SP 404.
Yep. And then do 215 for the version of MPC I'm still using after.
Okay. That. 404. What movie do you wish had a sequel?
I want to put some thought into this one.
Yeah, I got to think about that too. Mine is so... It does have a sequel, but I just wish it was better.
What is it?
Dude, I loved this movie when I was a kid called Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like so sick. I saw it in theaters with like one of my friends at the time. I was like, dude, that was fucking sick. It like didn't get good reviews, but it's one of those movies that I've watched it again recently, and I'm like, all right, yeah, it's not like amazing.
Yeah.
But I still like it.
That's our guy, Vin Diesel? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Legend.
Dude, Vin Diesel, the funniest thing, it's a sick premise. I wish that they would have explored the world more, but he's just so known for like, there's this scene in the movie where they're running from the sun. It's so sick. And like, there's a part and he just goes, move. And he just like does that a couple times, and it's just so Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish that's not... They made sequels to it, but I didn't like them that much.
They didn't do the job.
Yeah.
I liked, he had I think it was called Triple X, early Vin Diesel movie. Classic.
That's a classic. Also, just like bad, but good.
Yeah, bad, but good, right?
I love bad, but good movies. Like Gone in 60 Seconds. It's like kind of stupid, but it's great.
It grabs a hold, does the job.
Yeah.
Mine is, what's the Will Ferrell one where they're the Flint Tropics. It's not called Tropic Thunder, is it? That's the different one. Is it Tropic Thunder?
Well, that's not with Will Ferrell.
No, that's the one with Ben Stiller, right?
Yeah.
What's the one with the Flint Tropics? You know what I'm talking about? They invent the alley-oop.
Oh, the semi-pro?
Semi-pro, yeah.
Yeah,
The
basketball.
It's a silly one, but I just watched that a couple weeks ago, and just a classic. I love
kind
to
of
see
a
maybe what
sleeper.
happened after that. Yeah, that's a sleeper Will Ferrell movie for sure.
You know that the sequel would be trash, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
terrible trash.
just like Anchorman 2 was like, yeah, it was okay. It had normally comedy movies that have sequels like that, they have their moments, but they're not like good
yeah.
per se.
You got to catch it the first time around. Actually, what I will add is Superbad. Superbad is probably the top of the list for me. Just that dumb classic comedy. Me and all my buddies growing up, we just absolutely loved it. So I guess if there was a Superbad too, that would hit for me. And I just had another one too, but I guess we could go all day on movies. We could
Movies, yeah.
Look for
That's okay. We're trying to learn more about Pete Mac, so it's fine.
He loves Superbad.
215, you said, or
215, correct.
215.
MPC version 215.
All right, we got. Do you think making driverless cars is a smart invention? That feels kind of dated.
I actually came with a pretty long opinion on this topic, so I'm glad you asked that.
When did this come out? Oh, dude, they have more books. I have some of their other books too, but I'm trying to figure out when this came out and like if that was like, oh, such a crazy question because we have driverless cars. Oh, 2020. All right.
Interesting.
I think I've said this before that I think we're in this weird, like, what is it called? Like we're half in, half out with the driverless cars. Like if we just went full autonomous, it would probably just be better. But people get to like drive around and look on their phone, and then there's like driverless cars and they don't know what to do because that person doesn't even know what they're doing. And like,
yeah,
that's when accidents happen.
Right. Man, I don't know. That's something I actually don't have much of a thought on. I guess, sure, why not if you've got it safe and it works, right? But I'm actually in an interesting place where I got rid of my car like 6 months ago, and I'm
really,
dude.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Carless life is phenomenal. It's
dude.
really,
I got a
really
car,
cool.
and I feel the opposite way. I feel like I'm car life now.
I mean, I'm sure it works if you got to use it. I'm walking to the grocery store when I got to go, and again, I'm not going anywhere far for work, so it works right now, but yeah, so for better or worse, I haven't had to think about cars at all in a long time, and the parking tickets aren't there. The snow, it's been snowing. I said, let it snow. It doesn't matter. So it's been good without the car for sure.
Right. Yeah. In Chicago, they're like always trying to pin you for something. Where I'm coming from, I biked everywhere, like in the winter, like was biking, and I stopped doing that. And now that I have a car, I'm just like, cool. This is cool. I don't have like a huge car. It's just like a little bug that I drive around.
Enough to get from A to B. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like a little go-kart,
Yep.
All right. Let's do one last one. Then we'll play a beat. And then what do you think?
Number wise, why don't you pick one? I'd love for you to pick a number here. Round us out.
Let's do February 22. You're right. Yeah.
Take that,
222 to those guys, but also just because that's the House of Beats.
You're right.
Day.
House of Beats this Saturday.
Just shamelessly plugging. Have you ever contributed to the development of something you were proud of? What? That doesn't even make any sense.
Any beat I cook up,
everything that I do,
we got to carry that mentality. We all do.
Have you ever contributed to the development? Why is it so wordy? Of something you were proud of? Yeah, dude, fucking just being like 30 years old and being where I'm at.
Yeah,
I feel like it's all a development.
It's a constant journey for sure. That's a good perspective on it. I think I'm with you there. I just thought back to my sister got married a couple years ago, and she asked me to be the officiant. So I put together, the small speech, the small ceremony, and that was like one of the more powerful things, or just a great experience, So super grateful to have done that, and I'm proud of it. It was fun as hell, so that was cool.
Yeah, that feels, because that's like predominantly not for yourself, really, right? It's like It's something that you're proud of, but it wasn't like for you.
And it's not even anything I developed or whatever that I guess alluded to, but just for something like it contributed to or had a role in, like, yeah, that one stands out as a good one.
You had to put it together.
Yeah, so I did develop it, I guess.
You had to, yeah. You didn't want to fuck it up. So, like,
right.
Wait, did you... You didn't, like, wed them. You just
Well, yeah, I did the same thing, I guess, right? I don't really know, but I still...
Do you have to be licensed?
I did. My mom hooked it up. She helped me out.
You got licensed?
She got that one-day certificate for me. It was a full team effort.
Wait, what? You can get a one-day certificate?
I was a one-day. I don't know if I'm a man of God or what the hell they did, but
I'm not sure if I'm a man of God.
I had a direct line to the big man and got it hooked up. So, yeah, it was awesome. But I spent a few months just... not stressing, but naturally like nervous and sort of figuring out like, am I going to mess it up? How am I going to do it well? And I got to spend time with each of them, like understanding their perspectives on it and put something together. And it was just an awesome time. So I don't know how we ended up here talking about it, but shouts to Lucia and Eric. I love y'all. It was a good time. So thank y'all for sure.
I like how you said you had a direct line to the big man.
Yeah, that was my joke around the time. That's what I was saying. So I had to bring it back. Yeah.
It's kind of a dad joke, but I like it.
I'm a big dad joke guy. Those are the good ones, you know? Those are the classics.
No, I agree. I think my girlfriend is more of like a dad than I am. She just throws out dad jokes all the time. I'm like, can you chill? Just chill.
The 3 dad joke a day limit.
Yeah. It's got to make sense. Yeah, let's run another beat. Whichever one you'd like.
Cool. Let's see what we got. I like this one.
Are those little yas? That's like sick.
See, I really been out on the mission to keep out this paper. We had to stick up in the flip. Started out robbing Batman with the gears. When that shit didn't work, talked to pop out the chicken. Them times my bad ass still ain't listen, was living, but taught me the ways of that kitchen. Don't need me a pot, I can microwave with it. I bang the high seat just like a Christian. They sent to the spot, now we living, still running they map out the bitch. They bitches and I stood them out from the trench. Come to my block, come and see how we living. We chillin' with Glocks, today I got extensions. Move to the next body, got a spot, had spinning. I went from bottom to bottom to bottom to bottom. Give it up and we killed them. One-legged partner, if I can't hear, kill me back from the dead, bitch, I'm feeling like Thriller. I asked her home, bitch, she know I'm that nigga. Came through the circle, bitch, know she was Thriller. Swallow it out for a pill and some liquor. Half my way could retire, stripper. Step out of BBL, got the bitch sticker.
Maybe we just get another one in there.
Another beat in the mix.
Yeah. What's this next one?
Actually, this one I cooked up with Going Somewhere. Lucas, shout out
Going Somewhere.
Yep, he came through. He actually lent me a huge tub of records that I've been able to chop up, and we've had fun cooking up from that. But we made a couple beats. The video's up on YouTube. Check that out. But just like a rhythm roulette thing, saw what we could make with a couple
go follow
beats
Pete Mac.
But yeah, so Lucas came through Going Somewhere. We cooked up a couple beats. This one is the one I made. It was fun. Nope, so this one here. A little bit of an intro. Beat. Little taste, little teaser for you.
Little teaser, yeah. How many more do you got on there?
I'm unlimited. I've got all the beats loaded up on this thing.
Oh shit! Let's just give me a couple. I want to. Oh wait, I've heard this one.
This one, I throw a little verse on it. I've got the beat on this pad and then a verse on this pad. So I'll show you what I do with this one.
That's fire.
That's one of my favorites there. That's from a while back, but it's just that soulful sample flip, bouncy, almost choppy, and I like in a not great connotation, but still a good connotation. Choppy, like, whoa, it's all over the place, but it, for me, it like still keeps you in that loop, like in that pocket. So yeah, I like that one.
It's got that nice, like, high end, like, yeah, like that energy that, and it also has like the crackle. And
I'm a big vinyl crackle guy. Even if it doesn't have it, I'll throw it in there. Just dust it up for sure. But yeah, that's the sound I think I enjoy making the most. Not that like I can sit down and just crank it out, but when a beat comes out like that, like a sunny day, like it's a good vibe, like that's the goal. If you can bounce and smile to it, I'm good. My job's done, you know?
yeah, dude. No, I feel you. Any other ones you want to throw in there, or do you want to?
Oh man, I got a million dreams.
Ooh.
That one was, I believe it was from the Going Somewhere Duck World Sample Flip Challenge, the month that he curated the samples, and absolute heat from that month. So that was a fun one from that pack.
Yeah, dude. SP404 overrated, or is it? Do you enjoy, like, as a performance instrument? Is it hitting all the spots? I've always wanted to just get one because they look fun.
Yeah, they're awesome, man. I can't call it overrated. For a performance tool, absolutely. Like the ability to throw a beat on each pad and then trigger effects over the top for a live set is money. And I've got every beat I could want, at least right now, loaded. So you switch the set and you still got everything on the box. For cooking up, it's great too. I know there's people that use this as their primary instrument for creating beats, and it's got limitations like every other beat machine, but people cook wild stuff on it. I'm not the guy who goes as in-depth on the SP. I'd love to be, but yeah, it's a wild machine. Can't call it overrated at all. That would be a lo-fi sin for sure.
Okay, yeah, but predominantly when it comes to your beats, it's MPC.
It's MPC like 90% of the time, I'd say. That's where I cook everything up in terms of sequencing, programming drums, getting the arrangement down, and then everything for me feeds into the SP. So I can add compression, EQ, different effects over the top, almost as like a mastering chain as it feeds into Ableton, where I can then clean it up even more. So build it on the MPC, sequence it there. I'll use the track mute screen where you can sort of pull in or take out different elements and use that to arrange it essentially. And then, yeah, just compress it with the SP.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you arrange it ever in Ableton afterwards?
Sometimes I used to maybe export the stems from the MPC project and then mix them and play with them in Ableton, but I just love that track mute screen. And if you're not familiar with the MPC, it's essentially taking each track that you build out and aligning it to one of those 16 pads. So you can say, okay, I want the kick, the snare, and the hat and the chops to be on, and those are yellow and everything else is a different color. And you can say, okay, take the hats out and just push that pad and it takes that full track. So you can, on the fly, experiment with different patterns. And for me, I'm building like a couple different chop patterns of things I could use. So maybe if I'm using that track mute screen, I'm doing both, right? Or this one cuts this one off and I mute this one and this one comes in. You can come up with just different almost accidents that work. So yeah, it's a great way to just, for me, build out the arrangement and try different stuff and sort of build out the beat from like a 4, 8, 16 bar loop to a finished production.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good way to just like bring energy in and out.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure. Energy in
Like,
and out.
hats and kick. Like you can trigger like 4 things to come in at once.
Exactly.
Does it do it on the beat, or does it do it just immediately when you?
It does it for 2.15. It does it on the next MIDI event. So like it won't hit the next MIDI event that comes in. But I believe on the new version, it will cut instantly. Like it will cut right away. It'll cut the audio coming from it, even if it's a MIDI track. So I think you can get a little bit more hands-on in the new version. But for me, I sort of like it to be triggered by that MIDI event, so I know when it's going to cut. Like if I know I hit it before the 1, like it's not going to come in when the 1 comes around, you know.
For sure. That makes sense, yeah. Let's go into like just like contemporaries. And just people that you like listening to their music. Like we can definitely shout out people in Chicago. That's probably like an obvious thing, but you know, who are like, old and new people that you have been listening to?
Man, I'm a little all over the place with it, to be honest. Currently, or in general, like I just sort of get lost in the vinyl collection that I'm sampling or sort of listening to at the moment. So it's a lot of stuff in that pocket. That soul and jazz sort of 70s era is great. Modern, I don't know, a little bit of everything, to be honest. I get lost in like maybe I'll come across a beat maker or a rap artist or someone who doesn't have a huge following, but my algorithm just shows me all sorts of artists, right? So I've been able to find a few different folks that I really mess with and really enjoy. Saib is a beat maker, S-A-I-B. He's a big name beat maker, but he's out somewhere in Europe who puts together this chill hop music that's really, really exciting. Corieo is another beat maker, obviously a local guy, but his stuff is like some of the initial music I heard that like really shaped the way I look at lo-fi music. I feel like with different lo-fi artists and people who can take like that, not necessarily a loop, but you take like 4 bars and just that's the journey, right? And then maybe the next, it's the same 4 bars, but you've got different elements coming in and out. And so people that can make, I guess a good way to look at it is like a 2, 4, 8 bar loop or whatever, just make that feel like an eternity, like sort of zooming in. I don't know if you watch The Office, there's this dumb clip from it where Gabe describes the soundscape, where he's like, imagine if you take a second and stretch it across time. And it's sort of like that. Like, I feel like if you can make a beat have simplistic elements where it appeals to what's going on, but create a whole new world with it, I guess, is sort of like what I really admire in beat making. And that's sort of what I like. I guess I'm sort of rambling, went off the question a bit there, but that's I guess a pocket
what we're
that I
here
like
for,
to
dude.
explore. Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like you're saying, like there's like a microcosm within the beat potentially. Like it's like,
yeah, I sort of
like
answered
the
like
Grinch. You zoom into the snowflake, and then you're in the Who world.
right. I feel like the beats that I love, and I'm not talking about any particular artist with this, but just a beat that you see the repetition, you see the pattern, and it doesn't need to be a loop, but maybe it's like a 4 or a 8 bar sort of home base of the track, and then the track itself feels like sort of diving into that world where you're in that same 4, 2, 8 bar loop, whatever, but there's different ear candy elements, there's different filters, there's different ways you're hearing that loop or that sort of section, and for me it just feels like you're sort of diving into like an expanded world of either that sample or that loop or that the basis of that beat. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I was listening to a song today that's I forget what the name of the track is, but it's by this group called Saint Germain, and I was like listening to it for like 5 minutes or something. The track is like 5 minutes, and it's the same loop the whole time, but they keep just adding things on top of it, taking away things, and you don't get sick of it the whole time.
Right.
And that is like, that can be hard to do.
For sure. I think I'm drawn to that because I find myself I'm not able to expand it as easily, you know, or I'm interested in that idea of how do you take this, like I keep saying loop, but how do you take this foundation of a beat and add the variation or manipulate it so that it feels fuller, or so that you can hear it over and over for 5 minutes and not be like, damn, what am I doing here? Because sometimes I'll cook beats and I've got that same loop going and you don't get that broader world, you know, so it's sort of abstract, sort of random, but yeah, I think that's like a pocket of beats that I admire and try to emulate if I can, for sure.
also just that seems subjective in the sense like someone might be like, oh no, I'm in the world, and you might be like, I'm not in yet. Like
Yeah.
I need something else to like really get me in there.
Exactly. And I feel like if you're listening to your own beats, it's probably, I don't know, maybe it's harder to be a judge in terms of what you're coming up with. But yeah, I feel like that's a cool area of beats that I get inspiration from, is stuff that makes me just like think about it more. Like, why are the hats hitting the way they are? Why is the snare had that relation with the grid? Another shout out to Going Somewhere. The way he programs his drums and
Wild,
the relation to
Yeah.
each other, it's incredible. So stuff like that, I'll hear beats done in a, not a different way, but just different from maybe how I'm doing it. I do a pretty simple pattern most of the time. So you hear things done differently, and it just provides inspiration and a whole spark of like, damn, I didn't know, you could approach it that way, or just whole new pockets of it out there. So yeah.
Yeah. Seeing him make beats with like chopping up a drum loop and then like having it kind of like repeat in a way, and then it like, I don't even know, it's like confusing. They're like overlapping, and it creates these weird pockets of,
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
it's
And
really cool. Yeah.
the way I look
Shout
at
out.
it, because I've seen him cook up a few times, and the way, or even just you look at a finished beat, and the way I see it or I interpret it is like, okay, here's the pattern I'm hearing with this drum or this percussion element and this snare, and they all have their own thing going. They all operate in their own lane, but they all work cohesively so well together, versus like just a simple drum pattern where it makes sense, versus, hey, let's get all these things doing all sorts of wild shit, but see how they sound together, and it's fire. So big shout outs to him.
Yeah, dude. I just saw it. El Machetero. Where is it? Yeah. Yo, shout out El Machetero 1 for being in this chat. I just saw your comment, and it was about, I can't find it now, but it was about any plugins that you use for like mastering and stuff. And just to reiterate, you were saying that you run a lot of your stuff through the SP to get the compression, filters, whatnot.
Yeah, so this is sort of my first element of the mastering chain. It'll hit the EQ and then the 303 sim, which has some compression on it. So I typically just let the audio feed through this, and then by the time it hits Ableton, couple EQs, throw a saturator on there, a glue compressor, a utility, keep the bass in mono. And then I just got this plugin called, I think it's called Ulean or something like that, but it helps you measure the lufts or the loudness. Yeah. So I use that to make sure I'm where I want to be. And then, yeah, I sort of call it a day. I've also tried to, that sound maybe not complicated, but I've been in my own head a lot about like, this is the final product. Like, you have to make it perfect, or like you really got to put a lot of effort into that, which is true. But I've also enjoyed leaning into like, man, I'm cooking it up on, it's dusty as hell. Like, it's going to have those imperfections as part of the sound. So I don't need like a super clean master or any like significant EQing or editing after the fact. And it sort of just keeps the character from the sound it gets along the way.
Yeah, you're not getting super surgical with it. It's like, yo, some of the sound is just from this, like the 303 emulation, like that. Does that give it just warmth and like texture? Is that like the main?
It gives it's got compression, it's got like a sound, like a noise vinyl crackle element, and then it's got, I think, like a warble or something. You can try it actually if you want to see. Peter Griffin.
Oh, man.
So that's with it on.
Definitely makes it louder, right? Because you turned it down a little bit.
I turned it down to accommodate. That's with the flutter all the way up. Obviously, it's a bit.
Oh,
hectic.
so it's got that like,
You
yeah.
can tweak all those parameters from here. So usually crank that compression up.
Yeah, it sounds fucking
Versus
nice.
off. On. Off. So it's sort of subtle in that case, at least, but on that sort of, I use buses 3 and 4. So the 404 Mark II is great. You've got 4 different buses you can run effects through. So 3 and 4 are typically the EQ in that 303 sim for me, gluing it together. And then 1 and 2, maybe you've got another compressor. Maybe 1 bus is for just the live effects over the top. So yeah, back to like, is this overrated? No, absolutely not. Great machine for that.
It's also got like really in-depth shit that I don't know. I've heard people talk about it where they're like, dude, I didn't even know I could do this specific thing for forever. There's like sub menus and menus within menus and stuff, like,
Yeah, it's wild.
which is a sub menu. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not the guy to like say, hey, this is everything you can do on it. There's people that are wizards on this machine and could talk circles around like how to use it and why to use it and the best ways to go about it. For me, it's been a good way to, like, again, live shows is great, and effects box for the MPC audio. And then cooking up on the fly. Like if I'm going on a trip or something, this goes in the backpack and it's fun.
You just headphones and you're making a beat.
Headphones
like,
and you're making a beat. Yep. So it's good. I know B4 talks about the Lo-Fi 12 as another like small compact beat machine that you can take on the fly.
Yeah.
Obviously Koala phone and iPad.
Phone, yeah.
I just sent that to a buddy the other day. He always sends me samples to chop up. He's like, hey, this one sounds like it'd be great. And finally I just sent him Koala. I'm like, it's calling, you got to start making beats.
Yeah, you got to chop them up yourself.
You got it in the head, you can get it out, Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks for, taking us down that road and showing us how it works for you. I think what we do, I don't know. I mean, we've been going for a little bit. I think we should kind of wrap up. I always asked at the start of the show, what was your first concert, but what was the game-changing concert? I mean, you did mention a couple.
I did mention the game was a game-changing concert, for sure. I don't know. I've seen a lot of folks in concert. I think I really lean into like the more intimate, non-traditional concert settings where it's maybe not a packed stadium or a big venue, but the smaller one-off unique type of shows. This is sort of random. I saw Mumford & Sons at a high school auditorium sized place in Prague like 10 years ago.
That sounds dope.
Ass time ago. It was crazy. But just in the game one where like we got up on stage, it almost sounds made up. Like just random stuff like that is fun. And then another shout, I haven't done too much, but big shout to the Chicago scene. I feel like the stuff that we've got going on, yourself, B4 Lasers, obviously. Cole's Roof this summer, we were up there a bunch, just jamming and having fun. So give a few of us with SPs a chance to plug in and have some fun. And I take that concert over something at a stadium any day.
Right. That's more, that's like a community.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel the same way. Like, I feel like the House of Beats, it's cool that they let us do that. And I feel like people give me a lot of praise for it. But honestly, it's just like a good place to hang out.
Yep.
Like, to be honest, it's almost like something I would do at my house, but they just let us do it at the Epiphany Center, which is sick, you know? And the sound is good. It's got a whole vibe to it. So, yeah, I love that stuff too. Word, dude. Well, shit. Any shout outs? Anyone?
Man, shouts to everybody. Shout to you. Shouts to the whole Duck World Chicago community, all the beat makers out here. I'm new to the area, so it's been cool to just, meet people and a lot of warm energy. And yeah, thanks y'all for tuning in. It's been cool to just share some stuff with you. Thanks for having me. And
this has been, I don't know. This was an experiment, and I can't tell if it was good or bad, but I had fun doing it.
I've had a blast.
The fact that it was live and that some people could tune in, I think is cool, and I'd like to experiment with this more. So
yeah, it was cool for sure. Definitely a good time, and what a vibe to do it in. So again, thank you, bro, for real.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. Cool, guys. Well, if you made it this far, we thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Peace. Yo, what's up, guys? This is your host, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. If there's someone you'd like to see on the show, leave a comment below. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, we'd appreciate it if you leave a review and hit that 5-star rating. Thank you for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one.